So glad you're hanging out with us today here on the Tech Vibe Radio One Mic Stand. This is Jonathan Kirsting from the Pittsburgh Technology Council and Tech Vibe Radio. I'm having way too much fun telling way too many stories. It's almost nuts. I feel like One Mic Stand's a little bit out of control because it just keeps popping out of the woodwork. Great Pittsburgh tech companies, Pittsburgh Technology Council members that just have great stories to tell, whether it's COVID-19 or not. But the COVID-19 thing has just put this spotlight on the fact that Pittsburgh companies have awesome solutions and have actually been providing those solutions for years and years and years. And now it's just really coming to the top. And Hanel Storage is one of those companies. We're talking to Brian Cohen today. Brian, thank you for taking the time out of your day to talk to us here. I'm really excited to learn more about what you guys are up to, supply chain stuff, all these things that we're just really thinking about these days. Hanel is all about. So thanks for being with us today. Really do appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
So first off, just give our listeners just a little background on Hanel Storage and what you guys do and how long you've been in the Pittsburgh market, that kind of fun stuff.
Sure. We've been in business since 1953, but in the Pittsburgh market, which is where we operate all of North and South America out of since 1986.
Wow, so you're like a foundational company here.
We've been here for a little while, absolutely. We're a company that's all about our employees, so we have incredible tenure, lots of people in the 15 to 20 year range, and it's a real stable environment. The products we make are automatic storage and retrieval machinery, machines that will go straight up into the air inside of a building and store parts. Some of the customers we have are Air Force One, United.
Okay, that's a good one to start with.
Yeah, it's a little name dropping. Exactly.
Something like that, yeah.
United Launch Authority, every pharmaceutical, every medical device company you could imagine, every automotive company. We're literally everywhere in the industrial supply chain.
That's amazing. See, this is that's why I love being able to tell these stories, because like you're here in Pittsburgh doing this, and some people just may not know that. And what you do is just absolutely critical to so many things that we do every day, not realizing that, like pharmacy stuff, like you pick up your medication, that was stored somewhere and something had to pick it up and put it someplace, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. That is just so cool. And so Brian, how long have you been leading up Hanel here in the Pittsburgh area?
In December of this year, it'll be 20 years.
Whoa, that's amazing. 20 years doing this thing. Yeah. So obviously you're having a lot of fun, because you wouldn't be doing this for 20 years if you weren't enjoying yourself, right?
I'm enjoying it. In my whole life, I've done industrial automation, and this is just an extension of that. And as geeky as it sounds, I love automation.
I like that. I like you being geeky like that. Very, very cool. So first and foremost, I always want to ask people, so obviously, how is your company surviving right now through this whole terrible pandemic? I know you guys are probably working remote like everybody, but and obviously your services are just needed more than ever as far as that is. So how are you guys getting by?
Well, so we're getting by pretty well. We were designated as essential by the governor. But just because we're essential doesn't mean we want to take foolish risks. In the office is myself and our parts manager, Dave Weekly, who's a hero. He's making sure that anybody who needs parts around North and South America get them. And I'm in here just working and giving him support and often bringing him lunch.
Coffee and lunch, that's good.
Everyone else is working remotely. We were very fortunate to have a great year last year, and it takes a while to make these machines, so we have a nice backlog that keeps us comfortable.
See, those are things I want to hear, because I know many companies are struggling, and it's great to hear that you're there. You said you got this backlog, and you're moving ahead no matter what as far as that goes. So
exactly. And our company has a no debt policy, so we have no debt anywhere in the world. And if you go into a situation like this, with financial strength, it's much easier to weather the storm than if you're heavily leveraged.
That's why you've been around for so long, and will continue to be around for so long doing the important work that you guys do. That's for absolute sure. So maybe let's talk a little bit about supply chain stuff. I mean, obviously you guys are the machinery that makes the supply chains move, right?
Exactly.
How's that working right now? Tell us, what are some of the big things that are happening with supply chains, and how Hanel's in there making sure that your equipment is keeping the supply chains up and running?
It's interesting. There's a lot of activity. There are businesses like, as an example, space exploration, Blue Origin, companies like that haven't missed a beat. They just want to keep moving and moving ahead. One part of our business is storing sterile supplies in hospitals, in the SPD, surgical sterile
Wow.
supply department. Those projects have slowed down because there's no elective surgeries. So it's market by market. One of our biggest customers is one of the big airline companies.
Okay.
And I don't want to give a name, but just to give you an example on how things are going, they
Definitely.
wanted to cancel a great big order for this year and put it to next year. Not cancel it, but move it off. But they owed us a whole lot of money, and we were able to negotiate with them. And as hard as it is to be an airline right now, they
Right.
were great people,
Of
and
course.
we got paid, and we postponed their order as long as they needed. So there's a lot of legacy relationships are affecting what's happening now.
Definitely. Well, what's so cool is that, and this is, I think, a spirit that I'm seeing a lot across a lot of tech companies and manufacturers, is they know other people are in a jam right now, like the airline industry. What are they going to do? But you have the ability to say, yeah, you can push that contract off for a year. We're going to be there for you.
Exactly. Exactly.
That to me is magical. That's what it's all about right now, is being able to keep the business flowing, be cognizant of your customers and their needs are and how they have changed so much. So what else is going on out there that you guys are kind of involved with within supply chain? What other industries and
Oh my
examples
gosh.
you can give us about how you guys are there right now making things turn? Because I think it's just fascinating. Like we were talking about the fact that, like, you're in hospitals storing sterile stuff. Like, once again, we're not thinking about the fact that you go to a hospital and they need gauze, like, they're coming from someplace, and you guys have a hand in that, right?
We do. We take a very knowledge-based approach. So we hired a woman by the name of Amy Flynn several years ago, who has been in the hospital operating room suite design space for many years. Whatever we do, we want to go about it with expertise. We don't want to just throw hardware at it, because for sure, a hospital has a different automation expertise level than, let's say, General Motors might.
Right.
And so it's very important that we take that approach. What we're doing right now is looking at our customers that are involved in the response to the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
We've got diagnostic companies, we've got blood companies, blood testing companies, we've got companies that make insulin, and we're doing everything we can first to support them, and then, quite frankly, to look for people like them, companies like them,
Definitely.
that can help. We can benefit from a business and commercial aspect, but also contribute to societal wellness.
Definitely. Interesting. What about companies that have had to change their supply chains? I think of like the automotive makers that switched to making ventilators. So all of a sudden they were storing parts one way and keeping things in supply another way, but they're now getting new things in stock in order to build new products and devices to battle the COVID stuff. Are you seeing that impacting things?
Not quite yet. And
Okay.
the reason for that is it takes a little time to build our machines.
Right.
So we literally can't respond from stock. Everything is
Okay.
made.
Right. That makes sense.
And I think that General Motors and building ventilators and such, they're more in a fire drill mode. Let's just lay everything out and get this done. And good for them, definitely.
Figure out how to use those existing resources and make everything fit as far as that goes. So I'm assuming then you might be seeing then obviously changes in how you're working with some of your customers moving forward, because they're going to have some different things maybe that they're doing, or they can be prepared for the future to maybe have more flexible systems possibly that
Yeah,
can handle different types of things depending upon what the need might be.
absolutely. Without plugging our machines too much, one of our
Plug
machines,
them. We think they're cool.
one of them is super flexible
Yeah.
and can store all kinds of different products.
Okay.
The machine will decide where to put that shelf based on how high the products are. So
Huh.
there are optical sensors that are measuring the height. So yeah, they can be very, very flexible. And that's our number one machine right now in the world.
I believe I gotta see if it's got flexibility and allows people to do many things. I'm sure that's your top seller as far as that goes. Very cool. And so, are you guys in a hiring mode at all now, or will you be hiring as we move forward? And because I'm assuming there's going to be so much more demand. Obviously, I mean, there's always demand for what you do, but now it's going to be even greater. I have to expect.
Well, I want to tell you that our company philosophy and my personal business philosophy is
Yeah.
self-sustained incremental growth,
Okay.
which means the money we make this year, we put back into the company
Hmm.
for incremental growth.
I like that.
We're not interested in getting the Walmart contract. We're interested in getting incremental business with pharmaceuticals and so on.
Gotcha.
So right now, our budget that we put in place, and it's still active, has 3 people to be hired this year.
Okay, great. That's excellent. I just love the stability of your company and the way you're talking right now. Like that makes me feel good. Because it's like you guys are building super cool stuff, but you're doing it on this big platform that's been built over what, 60 years now or whatever it is since you guys have been around. And you're here in Pittsburgh doing that. It's a debt-free company. So you can weather these types of things and you can work flexibly with your customers right now. I can't think of a cooler story than that right now.
The only thing I'd say would be cooler is the
Yeah.
relationship we have with our employees here in Pittsburgh and around the country.
Tell me about that. Yeah, definitely. What's up with that?
So I learned from one of my mentors that to say the employees are the number one asset is one thing, but to live that is a whole different thing. So we take care of each other. They take care of me. I take care of them. There's a lot of love.
Well, you said you're getting lunch for your guy right now, your parts guy right now.
Truth be known, I was going to eat it with him.
Oh, that's good. Just at a safe distance.
Different sides of the room, exactly. And he and I will always have this time moving forward. You remember the time when we had the pandemic?
Oh, yeah.
So it's cool that way. And everyone helps each other. And we're doing, we're using Teams. In addition to just the work we're doing on there, I think our communication is better than it's ever been. But we're also doing social things. There was a trivia night on Thursday or Friday of last week.
That's cool.
Where we're playing a little bit, just having, you got to remember to laugh a little bit.
Yeah, you got to remember that, like, we're still like, it's weird. I think we're all missing that interaction we get at the office. Like, there's so much to be said for that 10 minutes shooting the BS, at the water cooler and just being human beings with one another and not having that.
Making each other laugh.
Making each other laugh, exactly. So you can have a trivia night and you can poke fun at each other while answering fun questions. Like, that's a great way to keep the team going, right?
Exactly.
That's so cool, man. I love it all the way around.
We're really happy to be part of the supply chain. And, I spent a lot of time with the material handling industry. I'm still active on their advisory boards. But there's a concept that we like to tell people who ask, well, what is material handling?
Yeah.
And it's everything from when you buy it on Amazon until it gets to your door.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
And before, of course, as well, through the manufacturing and everything else.
Exactly.
And there are so many great professionals in the conveyance, forklift, racking, mezzanine business out there, and they're good people. And the companies a lot of times are family-owned, mid-sized companies that care about their employees, that care about their communities. It's a really cool environment.
It is. And you guys are in the middle of that every single day right now. And it had been since 1957 or 56, you said?
53.
Yeah, 53. Yeah, it's like, oh my God. So I just find it amazing, like all the way around. Is there anything we haven't covered that our viewers and listeners should know about what Hanel Storage is up to and what you guys continue to do?
Well, we're working with all kinds of technology and partners. What we do is interesting. We're doing things like augmented reality, where you can wear glasses and the glasses will show you the parts to pick.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And so that's interesting. But what's really interesting for us are our customers. I mean, to work with Blue Origin, as an example, is a great honor.
Yeah, what kind of how cool is that when you're working with a company like Blue Origin, for crying out loud, man? That's cool. Insane.
In every military base you can think of, and our people walk in there, and we're the professionals, we're the experts. We tell these folks how to get accomplished what they need to have done. That's the most enjoyable part.
It's got to be, man. So cool. What an awesome story for Pittsburgh, for the world, as far as I'm concerned. The Hanel Storage is doing what you guys do. Brian, I can't thank you enough for taking the time to tell us a little slice of that story, man. That's for sure.
Absolutely our privilege. Thank you for what you're doing, and the best to all of our Pittsburgh Tech Council companies.
Appreciate it, man. Absolutely.